We're looking for one deer in particular, that's Mick Dundee. We're after one deer only back here, a deer by the name of Mick Dundee. I've had 4 encounters with him. We don't have him dead yet, so we're on a mission. That happened pretty fast. Yes, I can't wait to light the phone lines. And Brother Mark and Matt, the whole family, it's gonna be Katie bar the door tonight. We're gonna celebrate. Thank you, Forrest, buddy. Thank you. Awesome. Holy macaroni.
Welcome everybody to Deer Season 23. You know, we enjoy bringing these stories to you, and I think the fascination from my standpoint is to give you a little bit of backstory, a little bit of history of how we take a deer at age 3.5 or 4.5 and get him up to maturity. It's never easy, but it's always fun. The intrigue is what will they blow into? And here's a deer that we call him Mick Dundee. We had no idea what he would blow into at age 3.5, but that's exactly where the story started. Well, it began on November the 7th. We were in a blind, and it just so happened it was after legal shooting hours. This deer came out. We didn't have any footage of him, but we got an eyeball on him. We got to look at him through some binoculars, and we said, man, oh man, there's a good looking deer. If he makes it, he could be something. He could turn into a real gem. Here comes the firearm season, November the 14th to be exact. We see this beautiful deer start to walk across the open bean field, and lo and behold, it was him at age 3.5, and we really got a good look at him that time, got some footage of him, knew that he had potential, just you don't know what they might blow into when you pass them at age 3.5.
Another nice young potential buck. He's a 3.5-year-old. He's got a split on one of his tines. He's just really nice deer, multi-tine, decent pass. And he's one that's going to get to pass obviously all year. Next year, we'll see what he turns into as a 4.5-year-old, but he should be impressive.
Then the very next day, November the 15th, we got a good look at him again. Here we were in the timber that day and had him walking by, and we said, well, there he is again. Beautiful deer, just stacked in there, all those tines, and we were like, man, oh man, this thing could blow into something.
Got to saw that beautiful 3-year-old. He's going to be a stud, that one right there. So just pretty exciting.
So at that point, we had already made a decision. We were not going to shoot him. We were going to pass him at age 3.5, pass him at 4.5, and then hopefully he'd make it to 5.5. So we knew at that point forward that he had to make it on his own. Well, I think one of the steps that we really put a lot of trust in is finding their sheds, you know, in the off season. And as luck would have it, Forrest puts on a lot of miles during that shed season. There in March, who did he stumble onto but found Mick Dundee's, not too far from where we actually ended up harvesting him, but found that shed, and he was absolutely elated when he saw it. You know, here you got a G1, 2, 3, monstrous G4, and a beautiful G5. We were tickled to death that he found him. He was pretty adamant about trying to find the other side. One of the things that he noticed was that he shed really hard, meaning it came square out in the middle of his pedicle, this little tab down at the bottom, and part of it's broken off. But he noticed that day that thing had shed hard. Our first concern was, oh man, I hope he doesn't throw a bad side next year. Well, as luck would have it, on July 29th, got the first picture of him, and there it was. We could tell that he wasn't going to do much. With that being said, we could tell also that he threw a little drop. So we were like enthused about right side, but we knew the left side was going to be pretty rough. Then we had our first video encounter on September the 29th. And he popped out. We had a beautiful green field there, but he was a little bit apprehensive about coming onto the field. He just stood there and stared for a long time, but we at least got an eyeball on him. He didn't look like he had a large body. He just looked like an average sized deer. If anything, he might have been a little bit on the small side. With the history of the trail camera photos, we knew going into it that he had that bad left side. We also knew that drop was pretty prevalent. And we thought, well, if he continues on, you know, and we give him another year, he could blow into something. Well, the next encounter that we had of him, and we had trail camera photos galore. So we got really, really good looks at him, some great pictures, and knew exactly what he was. But we had Matt Drury came in along with Scott, his camera guy, one of our main guys in our studio. He's in charge of a lot of the social media. And Scott's just a really good friend and also a great employee. So we were enthused about having him in, wanted him to kill a deer. And we had a few that he had to pass, unfortunately. One of them was Mick Dundee.
Oh, wow. Check that one out. Holy shnikes. Yeah, he's not 5, he's 4. Yeah, we know him too. I just got done telling you about him. Remember? Yeah. Oh, no, you told us about him. I didn't know he looked that good, Terry. Said he's got a good right side with a drop tine in him. How pretty is that? Yeah, he's got nice G1s though, don't he? Mm-hmm. Split. Wow, that's about all I can say right there. That is an awesome looking buck, tons of character, but he's getting a pass for, I think, 2 more years? At least a year, At least 1 more year. See what he blows into. See what he looks like, but awesome right side with a drop tine, a little weak on the left, but wow, what a giant.
He steps out and puts on the show of all shows. And we're like, sorry, Scott, he's 4.5, he's not 5, we're not going to shoot him. But what a show. And Scott obliged graciously. He went along with the program, and I can't say enough good things about him. But that's where we really, really got a beautiful, beautiful encounter with him, great footage. And we just knew that if we let him go 1 more year, he had a lot of potential.
I ate too much last night.
The next time we saw him, we were back there doe hunting with good buddy Mike Joggers, and on December the 3rd, there he was, standing there in that really, really thick wall of brush, the exact same spot that he stood when we harvested the animal, or in that same trail back behind the box that we were in. You know, we identified him immediately, and we just said, you know what, here he is once again. If we're careful, you take all of this in. This is all a mapping sequence and a strategy, because they are somewhat creatures of habit. So you log all of this stuff in the back of your brain and say, you know what, if he makes it to 5.5, he could be doing some of these same things a year from now.
We're going in there looking for a couple different mature deer. So hopefully one of them will make an appearance tonight. We can put a victory into him.
Then fast forward just a little bit, January the 5th, Forrest was hunting, and I think Zach might have been filming him, and the deer came out extremely late. But the fact that we got 1 more piece to the puzzle, you know, got to see him. It was grainy footage a little bit, but at least we knew he was still alive, made it through the firearm season. You know, this is late season where you really hope and pray that they make it all the way through, because once again, if he makes it, we were really enthusiastic that he may blow into something. Then January the 11th, Forrest was there self-filming. He was in there doe hunting. Mick Dundee steps out. It's after shooting light, and he wasn't able to get any footage of him, but he knew who the deer was. So 1 more piece to the puzzle. He's made it all the way up through January 11th. Now all we got to do is wait till spring and try and find his sheds.
This episode of DoD TV is brought to you by Hunter Specialties, serious hunting tools.
Spring of 23. Forrest is literally walking the legs out of his tail end, just trying to find both sides, you know, particularly the side with that drop. We want to make sure that we found it, and then also that funky side on the left. Well, who does he find? But he finds the right side from the previous year as a 3.5. So we got both sides from the previous year, left and right, but we don't have anything at age 4.5. Both of these were from age 3.5. Well, the entire spring goes by, he doesn't find either side. So then, you know, we're perplexed. Did we lose him? Did he get poached? Did he get shot? Did he get hit by a car? Did EHD claim him? Did CWD? You know, you never know. You scratch your head and go, Where'd he go? Why did he not drop his antlers here? You know, he's been living here at 3.5, he's living here at 4.5. Where are they at? Well, after all the head scratching and wondering and the bewilderment as to what happened to him, as luck would have it, you know, we got the cameras rolling. On July the 14th, Mick Dundee is now age 5.5. We get the first picture of him, and man, we were like, holy cow, this thing has blown into an absolute toad. He had mass, he had the drop, absolute giant. We couldn't believe it. And really, really close to everywhere that he has been. You know, all the pictures in this little spot we call Eagle's Nest. It's absolutely part of the puzzle to harvesting this particular animal. From July the 17th on, I mean, we were getting picture after picture after picture, and he started to give us a little bit of indices as to where his travel route was. Eagle's Nest was one of them, and that little water hole behind Bud's South Box was another one. And it was pretty consistent with a lot of regularity. But we didn't know where he was coming out at. And we were like, okay, we got to figure out where he's coming out. So Forrest and I talk. This is kind of like when we talked every day about Junkie. All of a sudden now that conversation, because Forrest killed that deer, had switched over now to Mick Dundee. Every conversation we had was, how are we going to kill him? Where do we need to set? How are we going to go in there? On what wind direction? Well, we still got to figure out where he's coming out at. So let's hang an observation set.
Well, in here tonight doing something a little bit different. Got the spotting scope, got the camera there. In here trying to film a deer we call Mick Dundee. He's our #1 target deer for this year. And he's been coming out on this field. We're not quite sure where he's coming out, so I'm gonna sit here tonight and see if we can't put an eyeball on him. I mean, he's a giant, so I came in, hung this set today. Hopefully we can lay some eyes on him tonight. It'd be really cool to see him in person. Gotten a ton of Reconic Velvet pictures of him. We've never actually seen him, so I'm gonna see if we can't lay an eyeball on him. Out here on a little scouting mission, trying to see that deer right there. His name's Mick Dundee. He's our #1 target for this year. I hung this set today. Came in here middle of the day when it was real windy because we wanted to see where he was coming out. And man, he's the first deer out. That's crazy. He's a giant. I mean, he is a mega giant, big old drop tine, big white rack sticking out against that real pretty green. Man, that's gorgeous.
He went in there from afar, 300-400 yards, and hung a set, 10-15 foot off the ground. As luck would have it, he gets to watch where Mick Dundee comes out, but not only does he come out, he starts coming straight at him. He walks all the way up the bean field and goes right past him at 40 yards into another big standing cornfield. So we were like, okay, we should have probably been hunting him. This was a couple days after the season had opened, September the 17th, I think. But at any rate, we got a pretty good line on him on that particular encounter.
That deer is a mega giant. And he literally just walked by me at like 45 yards. That was not the plan for tonight. He walked right past our set there. That's crazy. That deer's so big.
Well, now we've got a little bit of a line on him. We're going to hunt him, and we're going to hunt him hard. We're going to pound it until we absolutely either booger him and spook him out of the area, or we kill him, one or the other. We got one deer in mind. You hear us talk about that all the time. We don't have two, we got one. and deer we call Mick Dundee. Hopefully we'll get an eyeball on him this evening, maybe take a look at him. Actually, we want to get him on the ground and maybe check his dimensions. So tonight could be the night. Well, we go to that particular box on September the 23rd, and it's raining, it's drizzling, it's a little overcast. And here we look out the backside towards the pond. There's a little bitty water hole right below us there. We look out, and there he is. He's standing there at 35 yards, and I was like, oh my God, there he is.
He walked around the other side of the pond.
That's our boy right there. When I first saw him, he was maybe 30 yards, and he was down there messing around by the pond. He walked around the backside, got a drink, messed around, and he went to the south here. We got the wind on him. We got a south-southeast wind, so he's not downwind of us, which is perfect. We'll see what he does here. He may still end up coming around, but my guess is he'll end up in those beans.
Well, we get a little bit of footage of him, but we don't get him on the ground. So that was encounter one. Then a couple of days later, we go back to the exact same spot because we're still getting pictures of him right there. We go back to the same spot. He comes out again just north of the blind. He's maybe at 85 or 90 yards, feeding out in the beans with a couple of other bucks. And we thought, oh my God, if we just hold our ground and we're patient and we don't mess this up, he should walk right up here, or he's gonna go to that water hole and get a drink.
Well, there's a boy we're after. We had an encounter with him the last time we sat here, down at this pond below us, and didn't get him dead. And he's out there about 90 yards feeding on the beans. My guess is he may go right into that drainage and go back to this water hole, so we'll see. I don't know that he'll come up here, but he may. As it gets later, he might. He gone. He was just standing there feeding, and those other two just boogered on something, probably a squirrel or a hickory nut or something, for no reason whatsoever, and he took off. That's deflating right there. We're all closed up. I mean, this thing's locked up. Those two were together, and just something boogered them. I don't know what it was. Something in the timber there. It could have been a squirrel very easily. But he didn't stand for it. He had his head down feeding, so when they jarred, then he bolted.
He shot out of there like a rifle. I couldn't believe that he shot out of there like he did. And we thought, okay, he's kind of a sissy. It looks like he's scared of his own shadow. He's gonna be hard to kill. Well, we had an encounter with him there on the 23rd. We had an encounter with him there on the 25th. And luck would have it, on the 27th, we have another encounter with him. That's Willow's birthday. What an appropriate day it would have been to kill him. Unfortunately, it was past legal shooting hours. It was dark. We didn't have any footage of him, but he's still there. And we're getting pictures of him. Some of them's at night, some of them are going back to bed. Now that we know where he's bedding, he's close to this particular water hole, so we go back in there.
Mick Dundee, we're banking on the fact that he's going to come to this water hole, and he did. He's done it a few times. We've had some encounters with him here, but just didn't get him dead. And then he's been coming out, but it's been late. It's been after legal shooting hours. Last night he was maybe 20 or 30 minutes past legal, so we're just keeping our fingers crossed that maybe he'll come up and get a drink before the legal shooting hours have ended. So hopefully tonight will be the night. I got a good feeling. It's a great evening. We may see somebody else. You never know.
October the 7th. Here he is down below us there on the water hole. We see him, he's in all his majesty, and he does this lip curl, you know, immediately. And when he did that, I thought, man, oh man, if he just steps out here and he gives me a broad, we got him, bingo. Well, he didn't do that. We didn't get a broad. He walks straight at us, and then he quarters two, and he goes into the brush almost immediately. One thing is that I won't do is take that quartering two shot, and number two, he really didn't give us the opportunity, and it didn't take him very long. It's kind of in your world and out of your world, just like that. So, you know, somewhat crushing, if you will, because we had a plan, had a strategy, but he didn't give us the opportunity that we wanted. So it was back to the well one more time.
This episode of DoD TV is brought to you by the new specially designed, lightweight, and durable Tenzing Day Pack. Go further, hunt longer, Tenzing.
Forrest and I were talking how we've spent so much time on this one deer. Mick Dundee has driven us absolutely batty already. It was kind of like Junkie last year, which Junkie took us several years to finally get him on the ground. This deer is living in one particular area there, and we've been consumed by his presence. And we've dedicated just about the entire season to him thus far, and we're not having much luck. So I can't wait till we can get him on the ground and then start hunting again, because he's really kind of got under our craw. But that being said, we've got a great temperature this evening, northerly wind flow. We've had some really warm ones the first 3 weeks, so this is a delightful change here in the dark of the moon. Typically, they're not up moving around like they have been. There's been deer up on their feet and moving all day. So a lot of big deer getting shot. We say that the temperatures trump moon, and it does, and by golly, hopefully tonight he'll get on his feet and we'll get a crack at him.
Looks like we got one decent rack buck that's kind of coming this way. He's going into Eagle's Nest there. We've seen a lot of deer up on their feet. It's still windy, but it's starting to lay just a little bit. The cloud cover's starting to finally push out, some blue skies, so maybe they'll be up on their feet. We're looking for one deer in particular, that's Mick Dundee. We've sat here an awful lot. I mean, we normally don't do this, but we've had several encounters with him here, and this is where he frequents. We've got a little pond here. And hopefully, if it stays dry like it's been, he may continue to frequent this. So we can keep our fingers crossed.
There he is. He pops out in the brush. Forrest, he sees a rack, not sure. Then he makes positive ID. All right, now we go into overdrive.
You're working that scrape back there.
We need to switch sides first.
Okay. Do you want to switch real quick right now? He's working out this side, it looks like. He's right. Oh, he's right here. He's right here.
Imagine.
He's going up to the field.
I guess you're getting all that.
Yeah.
rub. He's at 27 there, 26 and a half. He may go back down to the pond.
Walks over to a little bitty tree and he starts rubbing on this tree, you know, and rarely do you get to see a giant deer do that, but we were enthralled, just taking it all in. Forrest is laying it all down, and he rubbed, and he rubbed, and he licked, and he smelled, and he rubbed. And we were like, how long could this go on? He did it for approximately 6.5 minutes, and then he finally turned. There was 3 or 4 other deer still down by that water hole, kind of running around like a couple racehorses down there just playing. And he finally made the decision to turn and come back over that way, and the rest is history, as they say.
Matt.
That happened pretty fast. Doggone it. We have hunted this box and hunted this box and hunted this box. Whew. I think Mick Dundee's done, I believe. Could I be correct in that?
You drilled him.
I thought he just crashed. I thought that's what we heard. Holy moly. Wow. We've hunted a lot of deer for extended periods of time, but we literally pounded this one. I mean, pounded it. We had the most frequent encounters with him right here. And we said, if we keep going back over and over and over, we're going to get a chance at him. And by golly, he just gave us one. And he rubbed on that tree, rubbed on it, seemed like an eternity, and then turned and came back. Man, oh man. Yes. I can't wait to light the phone lines. Brother Mark and Matt and the whole family. It's gonna be Katie bar the door tonight. We're gonna celebrate. Thank you, Forrest, buddy. Thank you.
Awesome.
Holy macaroni. Smacked him.
Oh, he's dead. 100%.
Whoo.
I just felt a buzz in my pocket, and I thought, I'll bet that's Perry. Well, I was off by a letter. It's Terry, not Perry. He said, bingo, Mick Dundee, done, which means he must have hit him well. Now that is exciting. Congratulations, brother. That's what I'm talking about. Sweet.
What do you run? 70 yards, maybe. There he lays, Mick Dundee. He's done. Wow. Look at that. He is a stud. Thank you, Lord. Wow. Wow. Let's tell you what, let's get him up to the beans. The edge of the beans are right here.
Here we sit behind this absolute gem, and this is one that literally is one for the ages. This deer, a deer we call Mick Dundee. We named him that because he looks like something from down under. He's just got stuff going every which way. Big drop tine, and I do believe this is the first drop tine buck I've ever shot. But he's got flyers, he's got stickers, he's got a whole bunch of stuff going on behind the pedicles here in the bases, split G1s and flyers over here. He's just an absolute, I don't know, pinnacle of what you would want in a whitetail. And I cannot say enough about the chess match that we've had going on with him. He's been playing chess, we've been playing checkers, but we finally did run into him, and we had several encounters with him. Forrest had a tremendous encounter with him one evening. He was sitting in an observatory position, filmed him come all the way across the field and went right on past him. And we said, you know what, if we sit there often enough, by golly, we're going to run into him and he's going to give us an opportunity. And that's exactly what happened this evening. So I couldn't be happier, and I can't say enough good things about all of our partners. Mossy Oak has been a really, really long time partner. Can't thank them enough. We've got so many good partners, GSM. We wouldn't be in this business without them. So everybody, I cannot say enough good things about the deer season. I hope everyone has a successful season. We've been pretty doggone blessed tonight. Well, how do you end a story like that one, a storybook, if you will? We've been so blessed the last few years. Forrest and I have really, really been fortunate in the fact that, some of these creations that God's built have really, really been a huge, huge level of accomplishment for us, because we spend countless hours, Forrest particularly, with putting up hot wire and fencing and planting and spraying and all of the things that you do, hanging sets and trimming sets. Each and every year, it's 24/7, it's nonstop. You're consumed by that. And when you finally get a deer that you start at age 3.5 and he goes through 4.5, and you're a little bit scratching your head as to why you pass him at 4.5, because he's an awfully good deer, and then at 5.5 he blows into an absolute giant, then it's all worthwhile. It was a great ending to a great story, much like all of the stories here on Deer Season 23, whether it's Mark, Wade, Perry, Matt, Taylor. We love sharing them with you. We just hope that you enjoy them as much as we do bringing them to you.
We're adding new videos every week, so make sure to click that subscribe button and check out all of our amazing content. This episode of DoD TV is brought to you by DeerCast Maps, waypoints, weather, virtual rain gauges, and more. Every tool you need to get ahead of your game.